Trapped in the concept, falsely accused was used, and misled, bitch, I'm hoping you fucking rest in peace.
Yo, welcome back. It's your boy Jay Dinero back with another hot one. Yeah, we got new school. Shit, what's his name? What's his buddy name? That be, you know what I mean? So I don't even want to get a new school stories, you know what I mean? With this little mini documentary, you could say, you feel me? But, you know what I'm saying? Title of it though, the biggest statewide movement in rap, the Florida Story. You feel me? About to get right into it, man. I ain't gonna hold y'all, man. Like, subscribe to the channel, do the whole motherfucking nine, man. You feel me? And best believe, though, join that Dinero movement. It's more than a movement. It's a lifestyle, you dig? And I'm about to get right into it. I ain't even about to hold you, you feel me? About to see, you know what I mean, with this Florida Story, you know what I'm saying? Hidden foe, you feel me? Best believe we already know some Florida rappers that be out there doing they thug thizzle, you feel me? But best believe about to see what it's here for, what new school stories got, you know what I'm saying, what he cooked up. Let's go.
People mention places that have had big rap movements in history. They usually bring up cities like New York, LA, Atlanta, and Chicago. But when it comes to statewide rap scenes across multiple cities in the past 30 years, Florida is at the top. Between Dade, Broward, Orlando, and Jacksonville, a huge number of rappers have come out of Florida and made it to the top of the rap game. The state has also had the widest variety as far as styles of rap, from gangsta to emo and everything in between. And they played a huge role in shaping the present rap scene across the country. So in this video, we'll take a look at the history of Florida rap. The earliest mainstream success Florida saw was the 2 Live Crew in the late 80s. The 2 Live Crew was a group from Miami that mainly made party music focused around females. They got super big and ended up terrifying suburban parents who viewed the music as vulgar and obscene. So much so that they attempted to ban the music. It even got to the point where record store owners were being arrested for selling their CDs.
Damn.
And the group was arrested for performing their music. But things were taken to court, and eventually the case was ruled in their favor. So despite the efforts to stop them, the 2 Live Crew saw a lot of success throughout the early 90s, but eventually ended up going their separate ways. However, they continued to influence the music scene in Miami. One of their members, named Uncle Luke, would end up linking with the new and up-and-coming artist called Trick Daddy to make a few songs. And one of the songs they dropped, called Scarred, would end up becoming a big record. This cosign helped Trick out and grew his buzz, and a few years later, in 1998, he dropped a song called Nah Nigga, and the track blew up and became a hit, establishing Trick as an artist. The song also featured a female named Trina, and it just so happened to be her first song ever. She had no plans of becoming a rapper, but when the song blew up, she suddenly had a new career in front of her, and she capitalized on it.
Ain't there some shit?
In the following years, Trick and Trina continued putting out music and became the faces of Miami in the early 2000s. It was also around this time that a young CO decided to pursue his career in rap. William Roberts decided that he wanted to create a kingpin persona, so he took the name Rick Ross from the legendary kingpin Freeway Rick Ross, as well as his story, and started rapping about moving keys. He formed a group called the Carol City Cartel, which included rappers like Gunplay, Torch, and Young Breed. In 2006, he dropped Hustlin', and the record was a smash hit and ended up everywhere. He dropped his debut album, Port of Miami, in August, and over the years, Ross would grow bigger and bigger, and eventually become a household name. Alongside Ross, at a smaller scale, Gunplay would also go on to see a lot of success, and another South Florida artist named Briscoe also got popping around this time. Late 2000s, Florida actually ended up producing a couple mainstream artists. Around this time, T-Pain was taking a new emerging effect called Auto-Tune to its extreme. And in 2007, he released huge hit singles like Buy You a Drink and bartending.
Man, T-Pain
He
had
also
one
teamed
of
up
the
with the Carol
craziest
Street artist called
runs
Flo Rida on
in
a
the
song
early
called Low,
2000s.
which was an extremely big
He
hit.
definitely had one
And
of the
in the
craziest
following
runs.
years, Flo Rida would go on to drop several other huge mainstream records. Also, on a less mainstream level, Plies was starting to make waves as well. He had ran a record label called Big H Records with his brother since the 90s, but around 2003, he made a demo verse for another artist on a song that actually ended up being released as an actual verse, gaining him a lot of attention and leading to him beginning his own music career. And as the years went on, he would grow into a well-loved artist, release big songs, and eventually transition into a social media personality that dropped a hot record from time to time. 2006 was the year the most iconic man to make music without any actual artistic talent began his career. DJ Khaled was a DJ at a local radio station in Miami. At this position, he was able to build industry connections, and in 2006, he used these connections to put together his first record, Holla at Me, featuring Paul Wall, Lil Wayne, Pitbull, Rick Ross, and Fat Joe. He dropped his debut album, We the Best, in 2007, and over the years, he continued to put out albums and become a household name based off his true talent, which was building a popular brand and image. Around the late 2000s, Khaled ended up signing an artist called Ace Hood, who ended up blowing up off his hit single, Hustle Hard, in 2011. He followed this up with another huge record called Bugatti in 2013, 9 years before it became the official car of the Top G. In the early 10s, Ace Hood was at the top of the game in the mainstream spotlight, but these years also marked the start of a new underground movement in South Florida. In 2008, an artist called Space Ghost Perp founded a group called Raider Clan and recruited OG members like Dodo, Gaddafi, Money Jr., and Jit. The group would expand to include members both in Florida and throughout the country, like Chris Travis, Kenyatta, Amber London, Young Simi, Nell, Rel, and many more. The most notable being Xavier Wolf and Denzel Curry. There were also several other South Florida artists on a similar wave to Raider Clan, like Fat Nick, Booyah, Bones, Rob Banks, and Metro Zoo, who also ended up collaborating with Raider Clan from time to time. In 2011, Perp dropped an album called Blackland Radio, and this put him and Raider Clan on the map. Space Ghost Perp and Raider Clan were heavily influenced by 3 6 Mafia, as well as Bone Thugs and Harmony, and the Chopped and Screwed Houston sound. They blended all of this together to come up with a new sound that would go on to have a huge influence on the music that would grow to become SoundCloud rap. This sound even ended up catching the attention of ASAP Yams, who invited Perp up to New York to work with ASAP Mob. So for the summer of 2011, Perp hung out with ASAP Mob and ended up producing a couple songs on ASAP Rocky's debut album, Love Live ASAP. But the friendship between Perp and the Mob wouldn't last, and they ended up falling out, most likely over something petty, leading to a beef that's still going on to this day. After Perp returned to Carol City, he, along with the other Raider Clan members, did their thing, dominating the underground through 2011 and 2012, and even touring with the likes of Odd Future. However, in 2013, some of their members began to leave, and through the next couple of years, it splintered off into smaller collectives. Many believe the group was torn apart by Space Ghost Perp's unstable personality, because in the following years, he would end up beefing with a lot of the former members. After leaving Raider Clan, Denzel Curry began to take off in the South Florida rap scene. His Nostalgic 64 mixtape was widely viewed as a classic when it dropped, and on the mixtape he had a song called Threats featuring Young Simi, and this song ended up blowing up, becoming one of his biggest records ever. The song was produced by an up-and-coming producer called Ronnie J. In the following years, Ronnie J would collaborate with Denzel frequently, as well as other emerging Florida artists, and he played a big role in developing the Florida sound. Around the mid-10s, Florida found itself in an uncommon situation as far as rap goes. The streets didn't have much representation. Raider Clan represented the kids who might have grown up in the hood but were seen as weird in school. They were popular with people like skaters, but the streets weren't listening to them. There was an entire generation of kids in the streets that needed a new voice, and it was around this time that Kodak Black emerged. He dropped his debut mixtape Project Baby in 2013, but 2014 was the year he started to gain some motion. This was the year he dropped No Flockin' and Heart of the Projects. To this day, No Flockin' is still one of Kodak's biggest songs, but it wasn't his breakout hit. Kodak really blew up in 2015 off a song called Skirt. This was a song that went viral and got his name out across the country. And while he was buzzing, people went back and discovered No Flockin', and it began to blow up even more than Skirt. The streets loved Kodak because he really represented them, and basically every gangsta Florida artist to blow up after the mid-10s has listed him as one of their influences. Unfortunately, Kodak was so street that he couldn't stay out of jail to save his life, and would spend the next couple of years in and out the system. 2015 was also the year Denzel Curry hit the mainstream with his breakout hit Ultimate, another song produced by Ronnie J. Although the song was unfortunately turned into a meme, it was still big for Denzel's career. 2016 marked the year SoundCloud rap went mainstream, which was a testament to Florida because Raider Clan and Perp had played a big role in shaping the sound and vibe of the early SoundCloud years. A huge moment in SoundCloud history is the 2016 XXL freshman cover, and both Kodak Black and Denzel Curry ended up making it onto this cover, representing two different sides of Florida. This same year, another young artist from Broward was starting to make waves.
Oh, fucking ass.
XXXTentacion was just starting out, and throughout 2015 he was developing a buzz. From the beginning, he was extremely versatile. On one hand, he was continuing the Raider Clan legacy, rapping on the dark, low-quality sound that they popularized, but he also made indie and punk rock as well as emo rap. Through 2015, he was performing at small local shows around the city, and alongside him was his right-hand man and fellow rapper, Ski Master Slump God. X and Ski were also part of a rap collective called Members Only, which included other rappers like Wi-Fi's Funeral, Craig Zen, Kid Trunks, and Rob Banks. They were making noise and even attracted the attention of Denzel Curry, who invited them to join his group, UOT, and they accepted the invitation and even ended up living at his house for a period of time and making music with him. Going into 2016, X was on the edge of blowing up. He dropped his hit song Look at Me in December of 2015, and by April 2016, it was at 1 million views on SoundCloud. In 2016, he would drop more iconic tracks like Sippin' Tea in Your Hood and Young Brats. This same year, he did his first ever long-form interview with Adam 22, which to this day is the most iconic and most watched interview on the entire No Jumper channel. But just when things were going up, X was hit with legal troubles. In August, X was arrested on old robbery charges from 2015, and he sat in jail for a month. Then in October, X was arrested again for putting hands on his ex-girlfriend. While X was sitting in jail, his music really began to take off. In January of 2017, Look at Me began to blow up, racking up millions of streams and views on YouTube. And in February, it hit Billboard. In March, X was released from jail on probation. By this point, the world knew who he was, and all eyes were on him to see what he would do next. In August, he dropped his debut album 17, and it caught a lot of people off guard. He had blown up off ultra-aggressive songs like Look at Me, but 17 was a mix of lo-fi, alternative rock, emo rap, and R&B, covering topics like depression, loneliness, and heartbreak. The album showed the mainstream that he was versatile and not afraid to take risks. Being X's right-hand man, Ski also saw his career going up alongside X's, and throughout 2017, he dropped bangers like Catch Me Outside and Baby White. 2017 was the year X and Ski transitioned from dominating SoundCloud to finding their spots in the industry, and this same year, two other Florida artists were seeing SoundCloud success begin to bubble over as well. Lil Pup and Smoke Perp were blowing up off catchy songs and social media antics, and seeing big success on records like D-Rose, Gucci Gang, and Audis. Kodak was continuing his mainstream success, dropping projects like Painted Pictures and Project Baby 2, and hits like Tunnel Vision and Roll in Peace. So in 2017, Florida was the most lit it had been arguably ever. Going into 2018, X continued to grow as an artist, dropping hit singles like Sad, Moonlight, and Changes. He dropped his second album Question Mark in March and continued to touch as many genres as possible. The project was labeled pop on Apple Music, but contained everything from old school boom bap to alternative rock. By this point, he had calmed down from his wilder days and was really focusing on being a positive influence on the world. He still had legal troubles he was fighting, but the future was looking bright for him. Then, in June, he tragically lost his life at the hands of robbers. The news shocked the world and devastated his fans. 2018 also marked a big shift in the Florida music scene. In addition to the passing of X, rappers like Lil Pump and Smokepurpp began to see their careers decline and fall off as the SoundCloud era started to end. This was far from the end of Florida's wave though, because plenty more artists were just getting started around this time. But a shift was occurring, and the focus was changing from SoundCloud and mumble rappers to straight gangsters. So in part 2, we'll cover the rise of rappers like Glock 9, Hot Boy, Young and Ace, Foolio, and Lion W. Melly, and the gangsta era of Florida music from 2018 to the present.
Yo, that's my fave. That shit was decent for real. New school story. Shout out to bro with that little documentary. I definitely gotta get part 2 in. Fuck you talking about. But like, subscribe to the channel, do the whole 9, you feel me? And don't forget to join that Dinero movement. It's more than a movement, it's a lifestyle, you dig? And I'm gonna catch y'all on the flip side. Peace.